All right. Welcome, everyone. Happy Monday. I'm Miles Debsky. I'm hosting today's broadcast from up in Portland. And if we look at our schedule, we got a awesome week for us, all with Nick Hunter on UI UX principles in FileMaker. Today is our day one of that, and we'll be looking at some beginner principles, all having to do with that design type of things. Quick little housekeeping for new people. We are fmtraining.tv. This is a free broadcast that's going out to YouTube, to Twitch, and also to Discord. So you can watch from any of those places, and you can also type in and ask questions at any point. Try to keep them on topic, but we'll take off topic ones too and maybe address at the end or just individually on the chat. So I'll be monitoring those, and Nick will see some of it too. So we'll kind of feed him those questions as they come along. Kind of to pair with this free training, we also have different video courses that we sell, along with you can bundle those together with an actual copy of FileMaker, and we even have some training manuals for those. So kind of all those packaged together just create this great training group. So I think that about covers everything. This will be recorded. We'll clean it up after, and yeah, let's hand it over to Nick and dive into our UI.
Hello, can you hear me, everybody? Hello? Can you guys hear me?
I hear you. They say yep.
Okay,
Cool.
Okay, so welcome everybody for this week of design, UI UX design, and that will be very exciting for me because this is definitely my specialty in designing and building application in FileMaker. So first of all, I want to thank you everybody to be here. And so yeah, as Miles said, we have a tremendous amount of videos, and pretty much there's a video for everybody. Everybody can find something useful in our video. So go there and go to check. It is worth it. We are ranked from the top of the line of the people making video for FileMaker. So we're very, very proud of it, and so it is worth it mention it. So so today, so this week we are going to talk all about design. So let me a little bit decipher what design means, because I heard many people say, okay, hey, you know what, Nick, we don't care about design. We don't care about how the button looks, and if the thing doesn't look good, we don't care. I say, yeah, but this is not about design. Okay, so we in a computer field, what we call in the software field, what we call design is pretty much the architecture. It's a combination of the architecture, the execution, right, and the end results. Okay, so architecture. I like to take this example because it is really relevant. Imagine you have a house, okay, and you have a very bad architecture. Actually, you don't have an architect, and you end up having the bathtub in the kitchen, the toilet bowl in the middle of the living room. Your bedroom is outside and there's no roof, right? And so you got a point here. So you can do whatever you want. In FileMaker, you can do whatever you want. And you can build a house like that if you want. You know, who prevent you to have the bowl of toilet in the middle of the living room? Okay? Nobody. You can build it right now, right? But there's rules. And you follow the rules. You have a bathroom, you have a kitchen, you have a bedroom. So you have pre-defined kind of rules, and instinctively you are following those rules, right? So it's exactly the same thing with FileMaker. You know, you can, yes, it's true, you can do whatever you want. Okay, there's no problem with this. Okay, but you cannot. What's the name? If you don't follow the rules, you end up with the ball in the middle of the kitchen, of the living room. So and then today we are going to try to avoid that, and you will see that it's really easy to end up having the toilet bowl in the middle of the living room. It's very easy to end up there, right? And I'm going to show you that it is really easy also to prevent that, right? So first of all, I want to explain to you a little bit of my background in design and stuff like that, because this is important for you to understand. So this is a course that I followed when I wanted to become a designer, a UI UX designer. Okay, so pretty much it's a Berkeley University that for adults, adults kind of course. It lasts 2 years. Okay, so the pretty much the cost is something like it started at $7,000 and go up. You see, almost $8,000 and go up, right? And so you see that. Okay, so I followed this course. I got a grade A in this course. I was really passionate. It was very interesting. 2 years, and so. But I've learned a lot of things in design and UX design. Now, the problem you guys are facing is the problem that we are not building solution with C++ or Xcode or whatever, Java or whatever, So we don't have all the tools that other platform offers. We have some somewhat limited tools, but you need to know something in terms of UI UX. Okay. If you start coding in C++, for example, you want to create an application for Windows, absolutely nothing is pre-built. You have to build pretty much everything. Even the double click, you need to program it. There's nothing that gives you the double click. Nothing gives you a window. Nothing. You have to build your own. Okay. So with FileMaker, we don't have to build our own windows. Do we? No, we don't. We have a window that it's offered by FileMaker, right? Do we need to build a menu construction and stuff like that? No, we have the foundation of a menu, and then we can tweak it. We can customize it, right? But we don't need to build the foundation, the foundational code to display a menu. So FileMaker offers a lot out of the box. Buttons, management of windows, scripting, and logic, all the calculation, the relationship between data, the data structure and stuff like that. If you want to build a FileMaker solution, so let's say a medium evolved FileMaker solution with C++ or Xcode or whatever, there's a lot of time. You need to build a lot of things before you arrive there. So FileMaker offers this. So in the same time, FileMaker offers limited but somewhat enough, okay, UI UX tools. And last week on Friday, we already explored that you can start with the building blocks that FileMaker is offering you out of the box, and then you can build your own feature. And we are going to explore that even more this week. We are going to make a lot of things. So first, now that what I want to show you here, just right quick before, I don't want to annoy you with this, but I think it is important to understand. It is important to understand where we are. So the FileMaker platform had an evolution, and I call that a revolution because each evolution was a revolution. Okay, so FileMaker came with 30 years ago, even 35 years ago, with a product named FileMaker Plus from Nashoba. That was even before Claris, right? And they so it said the product got called Nashoba FileMaker Plus when the Mac Plus got out. Then the FileMaker 4. Don't ask me why they called that FileMaker 4. Okay, and then they called that FileMaker 2, that with II like 2, right? Because that was for the Mac 2. So many applications back in the day were calling that Mac 2, Mac Write 2, Mac Draw 2. Everybody was calling 2 like that. Okay. Then it became what we call, after that, when Claris came over with FileMaker Pro 1.0, they start calling that a database software. building databases. Before, it was called a form editor. Okay, that's what it was for. That was on top of the box. Okay, form editor. Then it became a database software. Okay, until FileMaker Pro 12, they called that. Then they called that, to become a solution maker, right? Until FileMaker 14, we were talking about FileMaker Solution. Okay, and then they stepped up to an application builder with FileMaker Pro 15, and today we are in what they call Business Custom Application Development Tool. Okay, so that's the evolution of FileMaker. So you can see with the FileMaker itself, Claris / FileMaker / Nashoba / whatever. They give us kind of a interesting kind of information here. Say what the program, what the application is for. Okay, so today is to build a business custom app development tool. As soon as you start calling something app, then certain rules applies. Okay. So when you do solution, you can put whatever you want. But if you start calling yourself app, that means you need to do so. You have rules applying to you. Okay. So now let's talk about the design a little bit. So this week we are going to understand the basic UI UX concept. Design is more about UI UX concept. So what UI UX? UX means user experience, and UI means user interface. Okay, so we're not talking about the color of the button here. We're not talking. Okay, when you build a house, we are not talking about the color of the wallpapers and the color of the curtain. We are talking about is the toilet bowl is not in the living room. So that's what we are doing here. Okay, the UI UX, right? The UI is more, the toilet bowl in the middle of the living room, and the UX is, okay, how do I go to my bedroom? Do I have to go through the kitchen, then go through the bathroom, then get outside, and then go inside back to go to the bedroom? That is the UX. Do I need to do that? Or do I have a well-organized home and I can go straight from the corridor, the hallway, corridor left, and I have my master bedroom? So you see the point here, the UI. The UI is the bottom in the middle of the living room, and the UX is how I can get somewhere, right? Okay. So now I'm going to narrow down all the knowledge that I got, for 2 years over there, and knowledge that cannot apply to FileMaker. Why? Because we are not building a video game. We are not building an application that treat with photos. We don't build a Photoshop, for example. We're not building a text editor. We are building a kind of an application. We deal with data. Pretty much, we are building like mini Amazon.com, mini Google.com, right? Pretty much that is. It's plenty of relationship between different databases, and the information got displayed based on the font set and stuff like that. Pretty much is the Amazon.com. Okay, Amazon.com could be an FileMaker application. Okay. Then we are going to learn how to ensure layout consistency. This is very important because it will help you as a developer to build great application in no time, preventing the rework and preventing you to waste time on doing things. And of course, we are going to learn how to reinforce simplicity. Simplicity is the key. If you have complicated things on the screen, you have complicated way to manage it, and more complicated your layout will be built, more complicated it will be for the user. Something you're going to learn also, more you are going to help the user to get something simpler, more complicated for you it will be to get there, because it is complicated to get simplicity. It's paradoxical, but it's true. It's complicated to get simplicity, but there's methods that you can use. I'm going to lay down for you during this week. Then you can get simplicity for free. Okay. So we are going to learn how to modernize, ancient database. Like say you have a database that lasts since for 20 years, and you want to modernize it. So most of the people are very afraid to do that because they say, "Oh my God, I need to rebuild everything." No, you don't need to rebuild everything. You can keep the foundation, the building blocks that you already have, and apply a new UI on top of it. It's not a problem. You can do with pretty nasty old solution. It's not a problem. Actually, it doesn't matter if the solution was great or not. When you want to apply a new UI, pretty much you're going to keep the data, keep the foundation of what you have, but you're going to rebuild walls, rebuild the roof, rebuild all those things. You're going to you build a wall outside the house, but inside the house, all the walls will be rebuilt, and all the room will be reorganized and stuff like that. You know what I mean, right? So this is what we're going to do, okay? And of course, we are going to learn how to build multi-platform applications with no effort, which is important because today you want to build apps for desktop, and then you want to build app for mobile device like iPhone, iPad. You want to go to the web, okay? So all this, you need to learn how you can do to build to have the minimum effort to get there, right? So now it's important to know why design is so important, by the way, okay? Because it's important because hold on, because so now what you need to know is you in the 80s, for example. Let's take the example of the 80s, okay? In the 80s. In the 80s, we had an application, I remember, and program, they were calling that program back in the day. Program were coming with something like this. Look, this is the manual of instruction to use ClarisWorks. Okay, so getting started for Macintosh, the handbook, and all the things that was sold. So it wasn't a problem, myself included, when I was building a solution for somebody or a database, for somebody. I was included in the price. I was including, let's say, 2 or 3 days of learning, and I was even building some, kind of a book like this, how to use my own stuff for people, and they were reading how to use it. Today, are you receiving this when you use Facebook or when you use Google or when you use Amazon? No, you don't have books anymore. Do you have books with FileMaker? No, you don't have books with FileMaker. And FileMaker was sold with a book, and the book was like this. Right? And so we don't do that anymore. So what it means, you need to share the same principle from other applications. Because and why that is important, and that is going to my next point, where if I can go with my mouse somewhere here, okay, that my next point here is, nowadays we are educated, we know things, we know that one specific icon, what it means. We know a trash icon, we know what that means. We know that, That's why you cannot use a trash icon to print something, because you're going to confuse completely everybody. Because we are educated. We know things like, we are educated as a human being, that when you get inside the house of somebody, you can ask for the bathroom. Okay, I keep getting this bathroom stuff, because in a house you will find a bathroom. If you don't find a bathroom in the house of somebody, wow. That means you have a problem, right? The person have a problem. So you need to make sure, right? And you follow rules. You follow rules. Okay, you will learn that in the course. When you open the blue button, the blue faucet, that cold water, and the hot faucet, that hot water, right? So if you reverse that, you say, okay, red is cold and blue is hot, you're going to burn the people. So you cannot. We are educated. If on the street, red is stop, orange is almost stop, and green is go, right? The traffic lights, reverse that just for fun. You know what you do? You go one crossover, okay, on the street, and you reverse the colors. You put the green as top and the red as green, and then you buy some popcorn and you watch people crashing their cars. When you don't follow rules, even on the program like a FileMaker, that is what you're doing. Okay, you're confusing people and you let them crash themselves. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. The users, they expect things because they don't have the book anymore, and you don't want to provide the book to them, right? So they need to find what they need, what they find everywhere else. Okay, so it's a universality of design is important. Otherwise, you lose everybody. And then now, if you want to share an application with FileMaker and you don't want to lose your user, you need to follow the same standards. Okay, it's simple. If you have your own standards, if you say, oh, you know what, I'm too good, and green means stops and red means go because you want it, okay, you know what, you're going to crash everybody. Okay, so this is what is important. So now we are going to start with things that I'm going to show you. The first thing, so first of all, do we have any question here? Because I can see, since I am in my, do we have question, Miles?
Nope, nothing. Just people saying hey and listening in.
Okay, so let me finish this. The problem is I can't, these things need to be presented as what's the name? Keynotes. I cannot do it anymore. So now we have a layout, right? So we have a solution here, okay? And this is FileMaker layout, okay? And I have plenty of text and I have plenty of stuff on my layout, okay? And it doesn't tell a story. Everything you do, everything you put in the layout, especially we are talking about buttons, navigation, things like that, navigation buttons and stuff. It needs it needs to tell a story. It needs to be coherent, right? Tell a story. Like this, for example, here, if you scatter things like that, you don't know what that means. You don't have a clue about what the A on the right means, what the B on the top means, and what the design on the bottom means, right? What my name is Nicholas, okay, that you understand, my name is today, you don't understand what it is, right? So let's rearrange a little bit this using a very straightforward concept here. So let's say you rearrange this, that makes a story, okay? My name is Nicholas. So that's a story, right? And I am talking today about design, right? That's another story. But before, it was impossible to decipher this, right? Now I have this, okay, or A, B, C, D, okay, now I know what it is, And I said this and 1, 2, 3, okay, now I know what it is. And this, I know what it is too. So my name is Nicholas and I am talking about design. So you see what I mean here? So this is the theory, okay? So now you know that you need to tell a story. And why I'm saying that for this. Here you have buttons, and I know you guys, and I did too, and everybody did that in the past. We scatter the buttons because we put the button where we can, okay? Oh, we have a free space there, put the button there, you don't care about what the button's doing. There's nothing, new, add, delete, print, whatever. You put whatever you can because you don't want to move around things because your layout is so full of stuff that you cannot move anything, right? So you put but this is, you don't follow rules. So you don't follow telling a story. So telling a story in that case here will be this, So I have a project, I have a customer, project, and products. This is a story. I know what that means. Okay, when I put them together like that, I start knowing what that means. I have an idea. Okay, then I put new, delete, print. Oh, okay. So those are commands that I understand what it is, and it makes sense to put them together. Okay, you create, you delete, and you print, okay? And then you have those two also put together, now makes sense. Import, export. You import data, you export data, okay? So those are theory. So this is things, rules, very specific, very simple rules that you need to start learning, okay? So now we are going to, today we are just laying down the basics, okay? This is a 5 days course, so I'm going to go slow, okay? That is for the new user and beginners. I want you guys, the newbies, I want you guys to start from scratch, from the beginning, to build things correctly, you know? So that's why I'm telling you these things that are very simple to understand, and then you can apply them tonight to your own solution. Say, hey, it works well, right? So now we are going to talk about coloring. You know the colors. Most of the time when I'm looking some solution from outside, an application, whatever you want to call it, and database from the past and stuff like that, they look like the Christmas tree. We call that Christmas tree effects. Application cannot look like Christmas tree. You are tiring the people eyes, you know. So it is important that you follow very simple rules that will make the thing easier for you and better for your user, definitely. Okay. We call that the function versus expression. So we're talking about coloring, and displaying kind of a different kind of a zone areas and stuff like that, right? So you cannot put the color you want to everything. You know, it's there's things you need to follow. If you don't, you can lead people to the wrong spot, you know, where you don't want them to be. Okay. So what a function versus an expression? Okay. So two kind of colors, function and expression. Let's start it. Here I have a dot here. Okay, a dot, a blue dot. Could be very many things. Could be a old brand that I loved when I was younger. The name was Blaupunkt. It was a kind of a car radio brand, and it was a blue point. Blaupunkt, in German, Blaupunkt means blue point. But this is just a blue dot, right? So what about now? I'm adding a red dot on next to it. So we are back to what I was talking before. The red and the blue. What the red and the blue together means to you? Oh, now there's a mean. Cold and hot. Cold water, cold air. You know, you go in your car. You go in your car tonight. Now, you go to your car. And I'm pretty sure, I bet whatever you want, that you have a command on your dashboard that is blue on the left and red on the right. I'm sure. I bet whatever you want. Okay, so that is what we call a function. The color itself has a function here. It tells you where is red and when is cold, where is hot and cold. Okay, I remember back in the 80s and the 70s, the American cars, they were saying hot, cold, right? They were saying with colors. They were using colors. That was the standard of American cars. Okay, and then they figure out finally that using kind of stuff like that was so destructive for the driver that was the reason for many crashes, because people were reading the dashboard. When with the color you get instantly your brain, it doesn't even have to look at the color to understand what it is. Okay, it's very important what I'm saying here. So now I have a orange dot. Okay, so an orange dot, cool, you know, it's nice, it looks nice. What about now? Oh, now I know what it is. Now that's a function here. The function is red, orange, and green. We all know what it is. That's why I was saying that if you reverse that, you're going to kill people. That's what you're going to do. If you go on the street and you reverse the bulb and you do a joke like that, you're going to kill a lot of people. So you cannot do that. Okay, so you need to follow rules here. If you want to use the orange color, if you want to use the red color, if you want to use the green color, or the green color and the blue color and stuff like that, you need to know what that means. And in the we have our other as a civilization, we are programmed for that. We learned that since we were kid. Okay, so now let's apply this to FileMaker, right? So what it means. So you see here, this, for example. Okay, I have a back yellow color on my header. What it is? Oh, this is just what we call an expression. So we just learned what a function is. Okay, a function. Okay, and then you have an expression. So expression doesn't have a function. An expression is what we say, is an expression. You express yourself. You express your taste. You want to express something with that color. Okay. And so doesn't have any reason to be there. You could be easily removing it. Right? It wouldn't change anything. Now, if you put a blue button, a green button as red, maybe you will do something wrong. Okay. Then you can add many expression. This is another expression, and you want to use that as a contrast to express a separation. See, express a separation, or you want to express a zoning, an area. Okay, you have an area here, right? And then you have another area. You want to express that you. Okay, so that all of those are expressions. Okay, and we, in the designer's field, we say, okay, don't abuse of expression. Otherwise, you start being like a Picasso. Okay, it's very good to have a Picasso hanging in your home. Okay, but you don't want a bad replication, a bad copy of a bad Picasso. Okay, you don't want that. So now we have, so we have this. So we have all the expressions that we need. And then we start having buttons. Okay, I have buttons here. Okay, they look like this. That's also an expression. Okay, they look like the buttons. They have a contrast with the background, and you can see them. It's an expression. You express that. You convey something here. Now let's use a function, a color as a function on top of this. Okay, this is a function. Okay, so you have the green and the red. Now you know where red is delete, is bad. Red is bad. Red is dangerous. Red always, look, in our societies, our human civilization, you go anywhere in the world, red is danger. Period. Red is not good. Red is do not go, do not trespass, do stop, don't go, halt. Red is no. And everywhere in the world, green is good, good to go, is fine. Green, right? Good to go. Go for lunch. Okay. So those are expression versus what's the name? Function. So do we have any question here, Miles?
We do not. I think they're just soaking it up.
Okay. So I'm very surprised maybe everybody sleeps though. But unfortunately, I cannot avoid that because it's unfortunately, if I skip this and I go straight to the point, you will say, okay, what he's talking about. Now you will know, because I'm going to refer all this all the time. That's the only keynote thing I have. But I thought it was the best way to convey the message, the keynote. Okay. So now, we did this. Now we are going to talk about another thing, visibility and verticality. Yeah, it's in French. This is I took the, I translated it and I forgot the et. This is and in French. Anyway, so let me go. Yeah, because it's a French presentation that I made a long time ago, See, I'm talking about that since 2016. I'm talking about that. This file has been, I built this keynote in 2016. And I made many presentations in Canada and all over the world for FileMaker. FileMaker, they sent me to preach the good words, right? So so what the visibility and the verticality, those are going together, and I'm going to explain you why. Okay, why it is so important to keep in mind the verticality. It's not a Nick Hunter stuff. It's not a Nick Hunter Luby or whatever. No, it's not something I invented. This is there even before computer. We can verticality since the engraving of stone, right? It was vertical since the engraving of stones. So it's not new. It's not a brand new thing. So here I have a number, and then I have another number. So far so good, right? And so, but you don't know what that means, I have no idea what that means, right? Then if I said this, now we understand what it means, okay? So we call that the visibility, okay? So we are going to learn how to create visibility without labeling everything. When you see something like that, when you see this, 100% of people in this planet will understand what it is without a label. Do I have a label for street number? No. Do I have a label for a street name? No. Do I have a label for city? No. For state? No. For zip code? No. So how you can understand what it is if you don't have the labels? You can understand it because I'm showing it the way you have learned to see the same thing since you're born. Okay, that's why you understand. We call that visibility. I'm going to use that, and you will see. I'm going to make you guys happy because you will see you're going to get rid of your labels and stuff like that, because you're going to learn that labeling is a terrible thing. Sorry. Now, the problem you get is you need to learn and you need to invent in the same time a way to display data in order to convey a message, to build the visibility on the data, and you can get your user to understand what it is without labeling all over the place. Then I love to talk about verticality. I know the boss, Rick Carlton, is making fun of me about this, about the verticality, but something, this I said, is from the engraving of stones. Even in the cavemans, because I saw that in France, there's one of Lascaux, that's a very famous cave from 30,000 years before, ago, and they were using, those painting on the wall, and they were using verticality as well. Okay, so it's not new. Okay, I think it's a human thing. Yeah, I think it's a human thing. I think it's how the brain is. So here you see what I call verticality is this. Verticality is columns, and you know what? You are surrounded with columns and verticality all over the place. Okay, first, starting with the grocery stores, is full of verticality and columns and arrays and and aisles, it's full of them. And imagine a grocery store where you don't have this kind of organization. Imagine you have just thing on the floor like that. You toss everything on the floor, you pile up everything on the floor, and when you want your cereal, your favorite cereal, is in that pile underneath, down that pile. You need to dig it. Okay, so imagine that you build the layout without those concepts. That's exactly the same thing. Okay, you need to adopt those concepts in order to get layout to be understandable and comfortable, comfortable to use. So each time now you're going to build your layout, I'm pretty sure you're going to think about your grocery store, right? So here, I want to show you that it's not a new concept, verticality. Let's take a newspaper, for example, okay? There's a reason why they build that way, okay? Because verticality, it's the vehicle of understanding, of readability, because you have the visibility and the readability, how things can be read, okay? How you can read things. It's very important. If you want your user to read things, you need to bring to them things vertical. Why? Because we read vertically. We read from the left to the right, yes, but we read vertically. The next sentence will be underneath the other one, and you go down, 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 down. When you are at the bottom of the page or the bottom of the column, you go to the next page or the next column. FileMaker layouts must follow the same principle. So here you have verticality all over the place. Okay, see, it's vertical. And then you have horizontality also, think horizontal to bring a sense of balance. Okay, you know what things is. Here, for example, that example, look how they organize the newspaper, the page. On the left, you have Monday, November 2012. Okay, you have definitely you can see this is about the day. Okay, on the right, you have all about the for that day on the right you have the weather. You can see is in a box but there's no box. The box is virtual. The boxing here is virtual. Is how the thing are organized. You have a box. For your eyes is going to see that as a box, but you don't have the visual. Okay, you don't have the line, and most of the time you don't need. And I'm going to explain you that during that week. This week I'm going to explain you that you can get rid of all the boxing and the flower boxing and whatever. You can remove all those things, and that put that in your mind. Keep that in your mind. Less you display on the layout, less things you have to build and less things you have to manage in the future, right? So yeah, you want less is better. Okay, the fewer the higher, always. Okay? So now we can see another example here. Okay, so you have a magazine, which is another kind of layout, right? It's a layout, right? So magazine, you have the same thing. You have a virtual columns. Okay, see, you have virtual columns here. Okay, so you don't have you have the picture, you have a column on the left of the picture, and you have two columns on the page. Okay, same here. This is a website. So here the website can see you have a lot of boxing here, but they don't look like box. And actually, most of the time they use controls as boxing. We call controls a button. A button, for example, is a control, or a polar is a control. Okay, so we call that control. Okay, I'm going to explain that later too during this week. So here you have plenty of columns. So let's say you want to build this and you want to put columns and lines and like this is how it looks like, but you don't need, because the way you're going to build things, you will convey a sense of columning and separation without putting the separation, So now let me show you something right quick. What makes a solution? Okay, what we want to do here? What makes a solution becoming an application? Okay, it's simple. It's how the user is going to use your production, your development. So an application is when you are following all the rules and people are enjoying it without any help. And everybody can find all the standard of the industry in terms of visual control, UI, UX, right? So when when you convey this, you can call your production an application. So let me show you. It's an application that I built a long time ago that I'm still selling. I'm not asking you to buy it, but I want to show you what, because this is really, it's a state of the art of what you can do as an application with FileMaker, right? So it's a product that I call, okay, sorry for that. Okay, so let me resize the screen here because my screen is smaller. Okay. So what do we call an application? This is an application. So why is it an application? Because I have all the standard of the industry in terms of design. A new button, a new photo button that is located where it should be, and following the rules. I have a sort menu here which follow the rules about how the sort menu should look like, you know, and I can sort by event, by titles, and by dates. So I have a menu that looks like exactly like it should be. I have a search box that looks like exactly like it should be and behaves the way it should be. So everything is so far so good. So you can say now you have a lot of your production that looks like this. Okay, so you have a lot of production that looks like this, and so you can say yes, it is an application. So now you have to see how you can interact with data. Okay, so for example, I want to select this photo. See, I select the photo here, right? And I want to edit this photo. I want to open this photo. Okay, so normally what you do, you select the photo on, you check box, you put what you do normally with FileMaker out of the box. You check box, you click a checkbox on the photo, and you say open, and you have a button open on the side. Okay, because let's say I want to open multiple. I select 3 photos. So what you do, you are in list view most of the time. You don't have this grid view like this. You are in list view like this, and you have a checkbox. You check this one, check this one, check this one, and then you have a button open on the side. That's what you have. This is not an application. This is a FileMaker stuff. It's not an application. An application is you select the first, you press the Shift key, right, and then you click on the next photo. A selection is made for you automatically, and when you double click on one of those photos, I selected 8 photos. Let's say I'm double clicking on this photo. Double click. I'm editing this photo. I'm landing on this photo. I double click, but I have the 8 photos selected here. So I go back. See, I go back to this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. That's it. So when you double click, if I double click on this one, I will land on this one, but I still have my 8 photos selected. So that is an application because I'm using double click. I'm using the multi-selection, right? Which is a pattern that I own, a multi-selection on FileMaker. This is something I own, okay? It's a pattern I own. And so this is application level controlling, okay? So yes, you can have multiple things, but you can build multiple things the same way. But the major differences here is how you manipulate photos. For example, you want to select those photos and you want to save them as somewhere. So you have here, you save as JPEG, and you want them bigger or smaller, and you want to rename the name with the titles. Okay, so you can do that. See how this dialog works. It is an application level too. I have a dialog, and I produce kind of information like this. And see, for example, if I say, yeah, I want a custom name with an index, for example, and I put my custom name here, Nick. Okay, so, and I continue, right? So it says, where do you want to save that? So I say I want a new folder here, and I want to save that inside this. So I'm saving the photo. So if I'm opening the folder now, hold on, new find a window, desktop, folder 7. Oh, sorry, it didn't work. It didn't. This version is broken. Sorry for that. But anyway, yeah, this version it's an old version. I broke it recently. So anyway, you got the point. And if you want to print, you have the printing, you have a dialog coming, and you say, okay, I want 4x4, I want thumbnails. So let's say you want thumbnails, you continue, and you want to open this in preview. So, and then you have this coming. See, you have a page, you print as a thumbnails. If you want to print the selection, and you say you want 2x2, for example, you continue, and you open that at preview, you have 2x2, the picture 2x2. See, so this is application level, the presentation and stuff like that. So that was something I want to show you. Okay, so now back in the day in 2016, Richard and I, we talk, and that was the reason why I joined RCC, by the way. Richard gave me a challenge, and he said, okay, Nick, this is what I have. Okay, this is what I have. That was in 2016, and I want to make it like Nick Hunter pretty. That's what he told me. Okay, so I said okay, and that's why I joined the company, is to make this. So here we have the two home screens. So the old one and the new one. You can see there's many similarities, but I applied some very specific rules, okay, very simple rules, and you can see the difference here is much better than before. You see, you have this here, this stuff here now is there. You have the quick access, and you have the video training, and you have the preferences. Okay, so this was pretty much the rebuild of this layout, right? So, and then here you can see this layout had some kind of it was working well, but design-wise and UI UX-wise, it wasn't good. It wasn't following the rules. It was the result of a layout that was there since the beginning of time, 25 years old, and they were keeping adding stuff, and they didn't really rebuild it because it was kind of a challenge. And that's why Richard asked me to join the team, because that was a challenge, and it was, because the challenge was not to disrupt the layout too much while making it nice and coherent. Something happened very recently. Apple issued iOS 14. Okay, and that's a very, very, very special feature in that iOS version. You have the possibility to switch off everything that is new in iOS 14, right, and keep it as iOS 13 was behaving. So why that? Because I tell you something, and I learned it the hard way. Okay, user will hate your guts the day you come with a new UI. They will hate your guts because everything they were used to, like, you know, it's like a all leather, you know, like you have an all jacket made of all leather, you know, it fits your body, you know, it's soft where it should be because of your body and stuff like that. So you feel very comfortable. Okay, so when you come there and you change everything and you revamp completely the UI, they start to hate you. Okay, and so you cannot do that too often. Okay, so when you do that, you need to do that once, and then you do a big one, and then you do evolution. You do enhancement, improvement, but you don't redesign your UI every 2 days. Back in the day when I was younger and much more stupid, I was passionate, and I was rebuilding the UI of my customers every week. So, and people say, okay, Nick, you know what, we stop because we cannot, we have too many complaints. We can't continue that way. You change the UI all the time, and I'm spending my days trying to figure out where you put new things, right? So I need to stop. I was 22, 23, so I learned the hard way. I lost a customer because of this. So since I say, hey, I'm not doing that anymore. So you cannot change the UI too much, okay? And even Apple acknowledged that, saying, okay, hey, people are starting to be fed up with iOS 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Every year they have to relearn everything, and many people say, okay, enough is enough. Okay, so yeah, this is important. So here when we build this with Richard, we applied very simplistic kind of design rules, and I'm going to lay down some of this. Definitely the layout here wasn't telling a story. Okay, so you have contact follow-up lists. Okay, but the follow-up was here, so the follow-up is here, and you have the follow-up list here. Okay, you have view contact list report, the address, and the printing details, printing labels. So you have print labels here, and you have view address labels here. Why? What the hell is this? Which one is the good one? Okay, so you need a book. You need a book, and you need to read the book. What view address labels doing? Because here you lose the people, because printing labels and view address labels, what's the difference, right? Then you have the duplicate contact. So why duplicate contact is on the bottom, and why the new account from contact here, what is doing? I am in contact and I'm creating a new account. What? It was like extremely confusing for people. Okay, you understand that one, and there's a lot of things to see, lot of bars, lot of boxing, a lot of things that wasn't too much understandable. The other thing that in this layout that was kind of confusing for people is an object with multiple functions at once, and you cannot do that. Each object must have one function. You cannot have multiple functions in one object like this one here. Okay, so here you have the go to this, showing this notes. See, you show these notes, right? Show this note. Okay, so that shows, and that changed the date, change the category, and change the subject, and at the same time you delete. So you have one function and three function in one layout, in one object, right? So that doesn't work. Doesn't work well. And I'm going to explain that later during this week. We're not going to do that today, but you understand the problem, where the problem is. And then you had a bunch of problems. So I'm taking this example because it's a great example to show you how complicated things can get just because you have the wrong UI. As you can see here, when I click here, it makes sense. I have a button that goes to that notes. Okay, same here. Click here to view the note. Okay, now if I click here, you can see here also when I go there, I see the note. I go to the note when I click here. When I click here, I go to the note. So that button here and here, they have the same function. Okay. Okay, so here here we can see the complexity of this, because now because of this, you need to have a script, a trigger on each field here to do something. This is totally unnecessary. It happened because the UI is not there. Actually, there's no UI. That's why you use the display object as an editing object, because you didn't want to build the editing object that goes with it. Okay, so I gave you an example. It's a bad example, but it's good for you to understand. If I want to rename this folder here, I double click and I name it, right? I cannot rename it here. Here the same. If I want to name this, I'm selecting this, but if I want to name it, I double click here and I name it here. So there's a reason why that happened. It's because for the same reason, this not well. And then you need to cover up your misdeed with a trigger. And then you understand the problem here. When you want to make that, when you want to use what I call the portability, that means the reusability. That means you can take the object, copy paste the object, and paste in another layout or another solution. When you have this, you need to think about this script, the triggers and stuff like that. So when you do that, you add yourself the possibility to have bugs and problems. Okay, so that makes sense so far. It's very. So today's was very basic like that, but I want to make sure that everybody understood that. So this is thank you, TK. Yeah, I try to make the thing to be to make the thing easy to understand for beginners. And I took an example here, a very simple example, to show you how wrong things can go just because you have the wrong UI. So this week we are going to learn all of this. We are going to learn a lot, but so far, you know, the coloring, the expression, the function, those are principles you need to learn by heart and think about it. There's another thing that you need to learn, and that is is to each time you put something on your layout, ask yourself, do I need that? Do I need to display this? Okay. For example, I'm taking this example most of the time because it's true. In the history of this contact, for example, how many times the contact will change his name? I'm just asking. Nowhere. No, it will never change his name unless somebody married, you know, a female get married, or like me, you know, I changed my name when I married my ex-wife and I took her name. Okay, so along with mine. So yeah, I changed my name, but that's it. You know, it's not something that you are editing every day, okay, or every 5 minutes. So so you need to ask yourself, what is the priority of this? Is it the most important things? Do I need to have all those fields displayed like this? Because the same thing is the address of this the contact will change every 5 minutes. Okay, the same thing for the phone numbers. So, and then that's answering that simple question already answers or guides you, dictate which kind of layout you need to build. Okay, so each type of data, you need to, for each type of data, you need to analyze what the data is. You know, a big chunk of text cannot be treated the same as a small one. And how often people are going to edit and, you know, edit the field, edit the data. How important the data are to be, you know, to be displayed. Things like that. We are going to learn to think like this. Okay, and this week will be awesome. So tomorrow, buckle up because we have a lot of things to see. I try to keep the pace slow because I want everybody to understand. So no question so far so good. I'm surprised I know there's no question, but I like questions, so I'm disappointed when I don't have questions.
I think you're gonna get hit with all of them later this week. But yeah, just a lot of people saying they're learning and excited for more of it.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to issue some this week. I'm going to give you a kind of a file that I have. I call that Nick Beck's practices. So this Friday, you guys are going to get this file. It's a file I built in 2016, and I lay down the best practices in terms of development, UI, UX, and stuff like that. So, and I'm going to use that file a lot this week, okay, as a base. So you guys will get this file for free, okay. So stay tuned for Friday. That's it for today.
Awesome. Yeah, that's super cool. We'll get that file ready for everyone on Friday. No need to really go through the schedule because, as Nick said, it's just more of this all week.
Yeah, pretty much this. Yeah, and thanks, Scott. Yeah, this was Scott this was much easier to understand than reading Apple's manual on. Yeah, actually, that Scott just pointed out the right thing. What I'm doing here this week, I'm going to condense. I'm going to strip out what you don't need. And that was the most difficult thing to do. What you don't need because it doesn't apply to FileMaker. Let's say you don't need to, sometimes, I was reading books like 200-page books, 300-page books, and maybe 30 pages was relevant to FileMaker, right? So it's that the difficult part it is, and Scott pointed out, the difficulty is to strip out what you don't need, right? And that's what I've done that, and that this week is for.
Perfect. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and we'll be back tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you.
And the guys just stepped up the whole way. Calm, cool, collected. The quarterback, great read, good patience. More importantly, great job up front protecting this quarterback to give you a chance. And that's all you can ask for.
Trying to rally down 10. 9:25 to go here in the fourth. Short motion by Amendola from the left. Brady takes the shotgun snap, stands in, throws it left for Amendola, reaches up and snacks a high throw and lands inside the 10, rolling to the 9. Ball slightly behind him, but Danny makes the grab.